All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are looking at one of the most incredible geopolitical balancing acts happening right now. We're talking about Pakistan's perilous walk on a tightrope between brokering peace and preparing for war in a super turbulent Middle East.
Okay, just look at this. On the very same day, April 11th, Pakistan is literally in two places at once. In its capital, Islamabad, it's hosting peace talks between the US and Iran. We're talking handshakes, diplomacy, the works. At the exact same time, its fighter jets are landing at a Saudi airbase. So how on earth can a country be a peacemaker and, at the same time, prepare for war? This one day just perfectly captures the incredible contradiction we're going to unpack.
And that really gets us to the heart of the matter. You have to imagine Pakistan as this tightrope walker, balancing high above a huge drop, with powerful forces on either side trying to pull them off. It is an unbelievably delicate juggling act. So on one side of this balancing act, you've got Pakistan playing the role of the ultimate go-between. They've skillfully used their unique position, having decent relationships with the US, Iran, China, and Saudi Arabia to become a key mediator. We're talking intense, back-channel diplomacy, reportedly spearheaded by their army chief, Asim Munir, who is a huge player in their foreign policy. And they actually pulled it off. They brokered a fragile ceasefire, which many are calling their biggest diplomatic win in years.
But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Pakistan didn't pull this off alone. This quote from an official reveals that trust between the parties was so low, they had to bring in a heavyweight guarantor to get Iran to agree. And who was that guarantor? China. It just goes to show you the complex web of favors and influences you need to navigate to even get a temporary peace.
Okay, so while one hand is shaking hands and brokering peace deals, the other hand is holding up a military promise that's been decades in the making. This is where the tightrope really starts to wobble. At the core of this is something called the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement, or SMDA. Now, you gotta understand, this isn't just some friendly understanding. This is a hardcore, legally binding treaty. It says an attack on one is an attack on both. This could literally drag Pakistan into the very conflict it's trying to stop.
And you know, this agreement didn't just pop up overnight. Look at this timeline. Pakistan's military ties to Saudi Arabia go way back, more than half a century. We're talking Pakistani pilots in Arab air forces in the 60s, training thousands of Saudi troops since '67. This SMDA is really just making a long, deep, strategic partnership official.
And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the chess game being played. According to analysts like Azima Chima, sending those jets wasn't about escalating the war. It was actually a pre-planned reward for Saudi Arabia not escalating. It was a clear signal saying, hey, we see you holding back, and we've got your back because of it.
But what happens when you're on a tightrope? You really, really don't want to look down. Because for Pakistan, the fall isn't just geopolitical, it's economic, and it hits right at home. The stakes here are absolutely massive.
To get a sense of that pressure, just look at this number. 20%. That's not just a statistic on a screen. When the conflict started and shipping got disrupted in the Strait of Hormuz, that was the jump in fuel prices. For the average person in Pakistan, that's a huge hit to their wallet. It's real money right out of their pocket every single day. And this chart shows you exactly why they're so vulnerable. I mean, look at that. An estimated 80% of their energy comes from the Gulf, and almost all of it has to pass through one tiny choke point, the Strait of Hormuz, which is ground zero for this entire conflict.
So you can just feel the squeeze coming from every direction, right? You've got the economic shock from oil prices. You've got a security nightmare of a potential two-front war. And then there's the people at home, where public opinion is largely pro-Iran, which clashes directly with the government's deal with Saudi Arabia. Throw in the fact that they rely on financial help from the Gulf, and, well, it's a pressure cooker.
So the big question is, what could actually make the tightrope walker fall? What are the red lines, the specific triggers that could force Pakistan to finally abandon this balancing act and pick a side? Well, the path from peacemaker to combatant is scarily clear. It's like a line of dominoes. First, the ceasefire simply runs out. Then, a spark ignites at sea. Maybe the US blockade leads to a major clash with Iran. And the final domino, Saudi Arabia gets hit again, and they officially invoke the Defense Pact, calling on Pakistan for military help.
And listen to this warning. It comes from a former three-star general, someone who knows exactly how this works. He's saying the whole thing, the mediation, the balancing, it only works as long as Pakistan's military moves are seen as purely defensive. The second it even looks like they're part of an offensive plan against Iran, the whole thing collapses. The mediator role just vanishes.
All right, for our last section, let's pull the camera back a bit. Because what's happening with Pakistan isn't just about Pakistan. It's giving us a window into what the future of the Middle East might actually look like. The old rules just might not apply anymore.
What experts like Rabia Akhtar are pointing out is a huge shift. We're moving away from a region totally dominated by one superpower. Instead, we're seeing what she calls a plural order. This is a world where middle powers, countries like Pakistan, Turkey, and others, suddenly become absolutely essential for managing crises because they have connections and trust that the big players just don't.
And get this, the new goal might not even be about grand peace treaties anymore. Instead, it could be about something called managed vulnerability. Think of it like this. Instead of trying to build a permanent, sturdy bridge between two enemies, you're just constantly making small deals to keep a temporary, rickety one from collapsing. It's about finding fragile stability, knowing it might not last.
So we're left right here with this one massive question. Is what we're watching a complete masterclass in high-stakes diplomacy, with a middle power saving the region from a catastrophic war? Or is it just a fragile performance that's one tiny misstep away from a total disaster? The next few weeks could very well give us the answer. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.